Welcome to day 2 of week 9 where we're graphing linear functions, which is SOL 8.16d. For this lesson, the students will graph a linear function given the equation in y equals mx plus b form. Going over yesterday's independent practice and homework, the direction states that you will determine the y-intercept of each line on this graph. That is the point where your x-coordinate is 0 and the line on the graph crosses the y-axis. With that being said, if we're looking at graph number 1, we see that the line crosses the graph at -9 on the y-axis. And if you're looking at graph 2, we see that the red line crosses the graph at +10. So the y-intercept for graph 2 is +10. Today's objective states I can calculate the slope using the slope formula given a graph. Materials needed are your notebook or lined paper and a pencil. Reviewing the vocabulary that we're going to be working with this week as follows: linear function, slope, positive slope, negative slope, zero slope, undefined slope, slope-intercept form of a linear equation, and y-intercept. We ask that you please pause the slides at this time, watch the instructional videos, and take notes. When you are done, please resume the slideshow so that we can utilize your notes to answer our independent practice questions. Welcome back. We hope that you've taken the time to take the needed notes from the instructional video links. We're now ready to go over our independent practice, and here is example number 1. It says to select 2 points from the given graph. Using the slope formula, find the slope of the linear graph. Hint, please make sure that the 2 points that you selected are directly on the blue line. Okay? Please take a moment to pause the video, answer your question, and resume so that we can go over the question together.
Let's look at the solution to example 1. In example 1, we've selected the 2 points 0, 4 and 2, 1. So we will use these points in the slope formula to determine the slope of this linear function. So I'm going to first start off by identifying my x1, y1, x2, and y2. Remember, we discussed in previous videos that it doesn't matter which point you select as point 1 or point 2, as long as you keep the x1 and x1 and y1 in the same, and y1 and x2 and y2 in the same point. But essentially, this could have been point 1 and this one could have been point 2. It's just up to you. So now that I've established x1, y1, x2, y2, I'm going to plug those into my formula. So I'm going to have y2 minus y1, and then I'm going to have x2 minus x1. And of course, you can simplify this using mental math, or you are welcome to use your calculator. So I have 1 minus 4, which is going to give me -3, and 2 minus 0, which is going to give me 2. And so my slope is -3/2.
On to example number 2. Please select 2 points from the given graph. There are also 2 that are highlighted that you may use. Using the slope formula, find the slope of the linear graph. Make sure the points you select are directly on the line. Please pause the video, take a moment to calculate the slope, resume the video when you are done so that we can go over this question together.
Let's look at the solution for example 2. In example 2, the 2 points that we've determined to use are 0, -3, and 2, 0. Just like in the previous example, we want to first determine these 4 values, x1, y1, x2, and y2, so that we can easily plug them into our slope formula. Now, once I've established those 4, I'm going to plug them into my slope formula to determine my slope. So in my numerator, I'm going to have y2 minus y1. Now notice when you're subtracting a negative, it's always best practice to put that in parentheses just so that the two signs don't become a little confusing. In my denominator, I'm going to have x2 minus x1, and then I'm going to simplify. Again, feel free to use your calculator. I'm just going to use some mental math here. So 0 minus negative 3 is actually 0 plus 3, which is 3. And in my denominator, 2 minus 0 is going to give me 2. And so my slope is 3/2.
Now on to your practice and homework. We'd ask that you would take the time to find the slope of the following lines. So you are given 3 graphs that have clearly identified lines. We'd ask that you take the opportunity to pause the slideshow at this time, answer these 3 practice problems in your notebook or on paper, and we will go over them at the top of tomorrow's session. At this time, we'd ask that you please log into your Clever account and locate your Dreambox icon. Complete at least one lesson today. If you have the opportunity to complete more, that will be awesome. Nevertheless, we'd ask that you please at least complete one Dreambox activity on today. Thanks for joining us, and we look forward